order. So, the first issue, after calling the meeting to order, is the paraprofessional new hires. I know we talked about that a couple times already. And
Yep.
I don't know if it's it's sort of more of a preventative kind of thing than a panic.
Correct. I want to be prepared.
Yeah.
And I don't want to bring you something in the 11th hour. So last month I had provided a memo to the committee and to the board to say we had a student move in with some significant medical needs that we needed a special education para for, and we have a building with really large class sizes that we wanted to alleviate some support for. So as I said, in last month, we have not filled all of our FTEs for paraprofessionals. So at that time, we weren't adding any new positions. I have paraprofessional positions to fill, so currently are not adding those yet, but wanted to just give you guys the heads up in case we do get full, to say we would need to add the 2 positions. So you'll probably appreciate my memo that I said as at 8:28 at 10:30.
Right?
2 new positions it would be.
Positions, yes.
Correct. So as of 8:28 at 10:30 a.m., that was the positions I have open. I think I've hired one of those since then.
Okay.
So the 2 additional costs would be the bottom 2 bullets.
Yeah.
So the instructional paraprofessional, approximate salary benefits, depends on if they're single, family, and then special education paraprofessional cost. So I would just recommend that we would approve the 2.0 FTE paraprofessional support for the upcoming year, should we fill all our options.
I'm the 7 hours each. How much do they work?
So if they work.
One is all the time, right? The one that with the incapacitated student.
With the student that needs additional support.
Yeah.
Yep, so they all work full days. So 7 hours a day is a full school day of work.
Okay.
They get their half hour, yep.
This is per day.
Yep,
Okay,
7 hours a day,
okay,
yep.
all right.
So they get their lunch, their 15-minute break. So additionally, just adding 2.
Okay, that's cool. Okay, is there a motion to recommend to the board the addition of 2 FTE paraprofessionals
Awesome.
positions?
Second.
Okay, any discussion?
I do, one thing is, it was, I'm gonna certainly approve this and certainly vote for this, but throughout the years and even when I was subbing at Washington, there's a number of classrooms that may have, because of the disabled population that's in there, may have an aid for an LD student or an aid for an or a behavioral student, or maybe there's a visually impaired student, or maybe there's a hearing impaired. So some classes may have 2 paraprofessionals sitting in there. When the teacher has extremely quality control of that class, we're shortage of a paraprofessional. Isn't there some kind of way that we can start investigating when we are down in buildings that a teacher may not need 2 or 3 paraprofessionals sitting in that class when 1 or 2? Because the teacher is so good and has the competency and the kids are doing well. Do we need all of those bodies in there helping 3 kids?
Yeah, and I can just speak from my experience as a principal in the district. I would say that did not often happen at all. I would say that was pretty rare. And if it did happen, it usually would because there was one of those students that had some pretty significant needs.
I just think it's something that
Yeah.
the building needs to be, and also when we've had one-on-one, if that student didn't show up, you're down and you don't let that person
Correct.
just scatter all over. You assign them where needed. I mean,
Correct.
and I think that's just vitally important and good use of our salary and
Yeah.
staff at what we're paying here.
Yeah, and Heidi Shorters and, Katie Eichmann and I are looking at that in terms of instructional paraprofessionals and special education paraprofessionals.
Right.
How are we staffed? Is there equity between the buildings? What's the ratio of kids to, adults, that sort of thing. So it's something we continue to examine. And, just being on probably a month before school starts, I didn't have a chance to dive too deep in that, but it definitely is something we continue to look for.
Good.
Well, you certainly still need to meet the services in the IEP, so that might not always be a possibility to spread people thin like that, but.
Well, if the IEP is being met and that teacher is competent and the
Agreed.
paraprofessionals, whether it's LDP, DC, or whatever the D is, or the I now,
Yeah.
I'm dating myself, but whatever what that acronym is, if that paraprofessional can help 3 or 4 kids,
Yes.
why not?
And I would say that I feel like we do a decent job of that.
Yeah, good.
Of getting, we don't need an adult for each kid, but if,
Correct.
these 3 students are all, maybe have different disabilities, but are all struggling with whatever in class, one person can help support them.
Right, right.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep, something we continue to keep an eye on.
Okay, so the motion is to add 2 FTE new positions for paraprofessionals. Okay, is there further discussion? All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Okay, good.
Okay.
Now we have the handbook update. Is this
Yep.
a new?
I gave you a new copy in front of you because there was one little change I realized this morning, so I'm hoping you're okay with that. So what I have done is I went through our handbook, our professional handbook and our support staff handbook, and we'll start with professional handbook first. And just trying to really look at updating that. I don't think it's been thoroughly gone through for a couple of years. So I wanted just to make sure we're consistent and that we have clean language and that it's understandable. So I'll just kind of walk through these with you if you guys are okay with that.
Okay, sure.
What I tried to do instead of giving you the whole handbook and having to sift through that is just here are the different sections that are updated. The blue kind of shows what's updated with it.
Oh, okay.
So
That's
like
good.
section 1H1, post-employment benefits. Previously, there was an appendix with a special form you had to submit if you wanted to resign or retire. We're gonna get rid of that form and just say submit in writing to the Human Resources Director, so a letter or an email. The second bullet, each professional staff who has accumulated 10 years, that previously was 15 years, so we're gonna reduce that, of service in the district and is at least 55 years of age will be entitled to a post-employment benefit of $125 for each year of service to be paid in cash, which is direct deposit. So you'll see on the support staff, this is on there as well, there was a different number of years for support staff and paraprofessionals and a different amount of money for each of those. So just to get consistent, we said 10 years of service at the end of your career, up to $125 per year for that.
Yeah, that's good.
Any questions on either of those? Okay. The next section, absence due to illness, we just are gonna change the maximum accumulation of sick leave to 120 days. It used to be 110 days. This is gonna allow people to get to long-term disability. So just lets them grow their bank even more if they'd like, then they would have a gap.
And is that going, well, we'll get to it, right, support staff?
Yes,
Okay.
yeah.
Is Sarah consulted or informed on this at all?
Who's Sarah?
The union, it's Sarah, isn't it?
Oh, Sarah, yeah, we have meet and confer next Monday, so I plan on going through these with them on Monday as well.
Yeah.
Yep,
I mean, we don't need to vote there, but it's probably,
yeah, just to walk through.
probably,
I think the one thing that you'll see as we go through this, I feel like there's a lot of, there's not any takes in my opinion, there's lots of gives.
yeah, that's
Which
what I
is-
was gonna say. This is all like making things better.
Yes, I don't see
Yeah.
anything
I
being
mean,
a contentious
I was
point.
happy to see that, but,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yep, absence due to illness and family, previously grandparent was left out of there, so we had all grandchild, we had mother-in-law, father-in-law, we didn't have grandparents, we just added the grandparent into absence.
That's pretty
Due to
generous,
family.
isn't it?
In absence due to death in family, previously there had been you get 3 days for this group and you get 1 day for this group. Family dynamics are different and people live with different members of their family, so we just are gonna say there's a total of 3 days of paid leave
For
permitted,
family, yeah.
for those. The leave is still only for actual work time lost.
Yeah.
So if the funeral is on Friday, you get that day off. If the funeral's on, Sunday or Saturday, that's not work time lost. So we're just gonna say 3 days for all of those rather than trying to delineate. There still is in there a line. We kept that it's like 1 day if you have a close, I think it's like a close personal friend or acquaintance. So if it's like somebody other than a family member,
A husband and wife team gets the 3 days together, if it's the father.
they
and
would
mother
get it
team,
each.
Each 3 days.
Each employee, yep. Personal days, this whole section under personal days is new language that's been added. And I added this language because this has been some of the practices that have been in place, but there's just been nothing in writing for this. So I just wanna be really transparent. I wanna have things written down. I wanna be really clear about what we're doing. So the first paragraph just talks about, this is if there's a personal day requested, for positions where subs are not available due to a certification. So if I'm a speech and language pathologist, you can't come and sub for me. You're not a
Yeah,
speech and language.
right.
If you're an occupational therapist, you can't come sub for me. So in terms of like occupational physical therapists, school psychologists, speech and language, school counselors, deaf and hard of hearing, we are not going to charge them a deduct for their second day because we can't get a sub for them anyway. And that had been a practice that we had in place. The bottom of the first page onto the top of the next page is for special education teachers who serve in a severe position. So this is our IDS or EBDS program. And you can see that there's criteria there for what constitutes a severe program. That's been something that's been developed by our pupil services department that they've been using. And what it's gonna say is those professional staff who meet those criteria will receive a total of 5 non-deduct personal days, and we'll pay for the teacher. Really, that's just showing that these are people with working some of our most neediest students in the
This is
district.
part of your retention strategy, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
So, again, if those people are, day in and day out working with, really students with significant disabilities, we're gonna give them 5
Yeah.
deduct personal days. We do put in there that, it's gotta be cleared by the principal, so we can't have everybody gone
Yeah.
from a program on the same day and, just that sort of thing. And program support teachers fall underneath that as well.
And what happens if you can't find a sub for that?
Then we typically try to cover within.
Okay.
I would say sometimes program support teachers have gone over to help that day from central office. But hopefully if they're planned out in advance, we can be good that way.
Yeah, it's gonna be.
And
hard
help
to
me
get subs.
understand the justification for a PST.
Because those folks are in multiple buildings supporting multiple programs throughout the day. There you'll see the clause in there, all personal days must be pre-approved by the building administrator and MPSD Human Resources. May be dependent on if we can find a reserve teacher. If we can't find a reserve teacher, we try to do everything we can to honor that for them and cover it a different way. Reviewed on an annual basis. The next part where it says new, that's that was different from what you guys received in your packet. I found this language this morning that we have been doing that I just wanna make sure we have in there. The district will pay teachers who choose not to use their personal day number 1, so that's their no deduct day, a $200 stipend based on the second payday in June. So basically, if you don't use your personal day, we're gonna pay you a $200 stipend. So it's been a practice.
What's the cost of a sub for a day?
If you're certified, $225.
So that sounds to wash it as far as a budget item.
And then you have the teacher there, which is nice. So any questions about personal leave or personal days
Do you have any sense of how many people were paid out?
for that?
Yeah, maybe you wouldn't.
No, I can look though. Let me write it down so I don't forget.
So is the $200, is that a carrot to have them not use their, I mean,
Yeah.
people would automatically use it whether they really needed to,
Right.
just because it's there. and
Do you
it's
know
there.
why that was started, Lee, at all?
I believe it was started when we were having a very difficult time with the reserve, getting substitute teachers.
Oh, okay.
And as a way to just sort of carrot
Mm-hmm.
the fact that, well, if people aren't taking the day, we don't need this.
Yeah,
find a
right,
sub,
right,
So,
Yeah, yeah.
And we want people to use their time off, right? That's their time, that's their
Yeah,
time, is
yeah,
for sure.
that's for sure.
But I will tell you, in my career, I've also seen a lot of teachers that say, it's harder for me to be gone, I'd rather just not take the personal day,
Oh.
and I'd rather be here.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
that's the truth.
if that's gonna help us out in the long run,
We used to call them mental health days. We didn't get compensated for them at all.
any other questions about personal days?
So they currently get 1 per year?
Teachers, professional staff get 1 per year at non-deduct, so they don't have to pay
Yeah,
for it. Their
yeah.
second one, they have to pay $150 for, which is the sub fee,
Got it.
which is actually less than a sub fee.
And then on the second one, do they also lose any other payment that day?
Nope, just the 150.
Yeah.
And then anything over that too, if they were to request, that would be unpaid, and then they would, have to pay.
Are we still having trouble with subs?
I would say it's not great.
It's not great, but it's not as bad as it was.
No.
When we restructured our pay in a more competitive manner, it was, I believe, last year. So, not last year or the year before, I can't remember, but when we did that, we saw an increase in volume of people
And we,
active in our subbing.
and I think probably post-COVID,
Yeah.
this occurred is that we hired building subs.
Yeah.
So now we hire people to sub every day. So you're gonna report to Riverview every day, you're gonna report to Monroe every day, you're gonna report to Lincoln every day. So each building has a building sub. So oftentimes,
okay,
then we're not
that's good.
you're not
Can-
scampering at the
can-
last minute to get
Can
somebody.
retired teachers
Yes.
do extended?
There's regulations about how much time they can do.
Yeah, right,
But I do
I
have
know.
I actually had a retired teacher subbing this morning for somebody who was
Okay.
out.
Because I know the pension system is like,
Yes,
well, if you make too much, you
Eight
you gotta give up. the
800.
pension.
880, the old number 880.
And then I think a couple of years ago, it was this retiree, their sub pay was a little bit higher.
correct.
And that was true or not true for paraprofessionals?
I don't know the answer for paraprofessionals.
Paraprofessionals were asking for that a couple of years ago.
It's very possible. I don't know. We had a very hard time finding paraprofessionals subs,
Subs.
period.
Yeah.
I mean, at
Right.
Lincoln, we would have, I mean, it was like a diamond in
Yeah.
the rough if you had a sub for a para. Like, it just didn't happen, really.
I think we
Right.
finally started doing that in Green Bay with teacher subs and paying them
Oh,
the teacher rate.
yeah, that's,
It's
Do you have to
pricey.
have a teacher's license to do so?
You have to have a substitute license.
A substitute?
Yep, either a teacher license or a substitute, yep. So we're doing pretty well. I mean, we have all of our building subs filled but one position right now, which is really good. And then we're working on hiring two permanent or everyday special education subs. Because one of the things at the end of last year was that building subs were getting pulled into special education classrooms a lot, and some of them said, well, this isn't really what I wanna do. So we're trying to hire we do have some subs who enjoy working in special education, it's their jam, it's where they wanna be, so we're trying to hire a couple of those as well to serve in that capacity.
And then
So-
you just float them out to.
Correct.
Yep.
Yep, so whatever building you say, so Sasha comes in every morning at 6:30 and, you know, puts the puzzle together of who's covering where and making sure we're all set.
Okay.
Any other questions about personal days?
No.
Okay. Direct deposit, this is a pretty easy change. Previously, you could, have your money divided into 3 separate accounts. We're changing it to 2, but anybody who has 3 accounts will be grandfathered in.
Yeah, right. It's,
So,
I
That's just
couldn't figure out why when anybody'd want 3 accounts, but
I would suggest to remove the gender from that and just say they're sunsetted.
oh, okay,
is there a gender in there?
grandfathered,
Oh, grandfather, oh, grandfather, I guess, yeah.
thank you.
That's an old term, but
Well, it's
what's the new term?
sunset.
Oh, sunset, oh.
The next section, lane movement timelines for master's degree. There was just one line in there that said that we would, use Manitowoc Public School District Academy credits for lane changes, which is something we haven't done for many
Years.
years. Many years. So we're just taking that, part of that out.
That was about.
But you're not taking out lane movement.
Correct.
No.
It's still it's still grad credits, it's still all the piece, it's just gonna be the one part of it that says that MPSD.
Would it be helpful to put that paragraph then and then line through it so you don't cause a panic
Yep,
over the next week or two here when you meet?
okay. The next one is basically it's compensation for people who have to travel to multiple buildings. There's been a lot of back and forth in the district about how this is done. Originally it had been a stipend, then they went to having to submit individual mileage for every building you travel to, which became pretty tedious, especially for some of our people that travel to multiple buildings. So I met with Nathan, our business director, and I said, you tell me the easiest way to do this, so we're gonna go back to the stipend method. So basically, you'll see there, it says if you travel to 2 buildings, you'll be compensated $450. Looking back, it had been $400 for many, many years, so we were bumping each of those up $50.
Yes.
Full and part-time employees who are assigned to travel to 3 or more buildings will receive $500. If you're assigned to travel to 4 or more buildings, you'll get $900
Daily.
for the year. Yep.
It's
If
not
you're-
much,
I know.
You know, but it's
Yeah. One of the
nice that people, you know, that's taken into consideration.
Yeah, one of the complaints we heard is especially people who travel, those people that travel like 4 buildings, they had to submit every time they went from building to building to building to building. So it became
Talk about
tedious where people just didn't do it.
Yeah.
They're like, I'm not gonna do it, and now they're, not getting the
Yeah.
benefit that they need. And then professional staff working in community-based education experience programs as like a transitional coordinator also will get that $900 rate. And then I just add that last bullet, principals will provide a list of all traveling staff to the business office at the beginning of each semester. So that's a new statement just about that the principals will provide that list. I don't wanna send an email and say who's traveling, just to keep it organized. So principals will know who's traveling, they'll submit that list to us, so then we can get those people paid. They get a third, a third, and a third.
Can you, because I remember in a previous district when we transitioned to having to chart it every time.
Yep.
We were told it was an IRS rule. That you can't pay travel stipend like that. So can you just confirm? I'm sure Nathan, you talked to him, but.
Yep,
Wow. An IRS rule, that micro, huh?
Kind of like you can't give out gift cards and all
Yeah.
there. You have to
Oh.
prove that a person, prove document, they did that actual task.
yeah.
But if
I'll
it's
check with
just part of the job description.
Yeah, I know.
it's
I
covered,
think
isn't
where
it?
it might be covered is what you're asking the principals.
Yeah.
So if you have that list that shows, Carrie teaches at Riverview and Madison,
That's documented.
then that's the way we're documenting it, but let's make sure we
Yep.
don't get ourselves in trouble with the IRS.
Yes, I would not want that, so. Overloads and stipends, there had not been any section in our handbook about overloads and stipends at all. So it's a really simple, statement that just says overloads and stipends will be paid out as indicated on the payroll schedule shared annually by the business office. So one of the things I'm doing in the new handbook as well is, all of our dollar amounts for things are gonna be in one appendix. So we're not updating it in 4 different places, and then we don't, this number is this, and what number is it? So we're gonna have one appendix that's gonna have all the different, it's gonna be coaches, it's gonna be
Excellent.
play, it's gonna be school forest, it's gonna be overloads, it's gonna be all in one appendix. So you'll see, like, that doesn't say how much it is, because it's going to be in the appendix. And then we're also trying to get away from saying, like, it's gonna be in the middle of December that will be given out, like, what does that mean year to year? So every year Amber in our business office sends out a payroll schedule. It's a really nice payroll schedule. It has when the pay periods are, when stipends are coming out, when coaches are coming out. So it'll just be all listed in that one place, the payroll schedule. So when you see that language, it often says like,
So once
as the
it's there-
payroll schedule or as the appendix, we're just trying to keep all that stuff in one spot rather than multiple places. Is that
So once it's done, right? Unless there's.
the payroll, yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
So do you subcontract this to any of your staff members to do this kind of,
To update these?
yeah, well, not to update them. I mean, I think you would have to do that.
Yeah.
But, do the typing and all the rest.
Oh,
of the
no,
stuff.
that's all me, Carrie.
Oh, wow.
Teacher mentor program, we are just gonna add some new language that follows this. We don't really have any language in our handbook that talks about what's the requirement to be a mentor. So literally, this is from the DPI website about what is a licensed a mentor has to be a license who successfully completed improved mentor training, effective collaborative qualities to work with the new educators. And then we are adding in, have a minimum of 3 years teaching experience.
About 3 years of successful teaching experience. Or effective. We would have that through educator effectiveness,
Yep.
right?
Oh, I like the effective better than.
Licensed educator, is that going to, confuse the psychs, the social workers, the nurses? Don't they get mentors as well?
They do, but they're also certified and licensed.
Well, that's what I mean.
Yeah.
Couldn't you go to licensed professional or like, rather
Yeah.
than educator, make it
Professional.
professional?
Yep.
Yeah,
If you have a license, you get a mentor.
Yep. I'm gonna put DPI licensed,
Yeah,
that way then we have that in there. So the whole, all the other mentor language is staying, we just
so
wanted to add that in there.
paraprofessionals don't get a mentor,
No,
okay. Hearing impaired interpreters don't get a mentor, okay,
not formally.
okay.
And then the second bullet, we had dollar amounts in that paragraph for all different things, so again, specific dollar amounts have been removed and will just be added to the
Sure,
appendix.
sure.
So that's a good question, Keith. Assigning a mentor to a paraprofessional, could that assist with retention?
So one of the things Katie started, I believe, last year, correct me if I'm wrong, Lee, is that there is a special education person who does go out and coach our new special education paraprofessionals.
Yep.
Who works with them, was that just last year?
There's like two or three.
Yeah.
There's like by level, and then, yep, they are able to go in, like in, essentially to any of our schools and work with any of our
Well, I
parents.
witnessed that in Washington when I was there, but it wasn't like a week-long mentor.
Right.
No.
Prior coming in, just once they were employed, then this person would help them throughout the course of the day. But it wasn't a 2 or 3 day mentorship
Yeah.
on how to handle behaviors, which sometimes you get a paraprofessional goes into a ED class, there's a lot, and they spend time, but it wasn't a true mentorship program, it was more supportive.
It's like a coaching
Yeah,
kind of
like
role.
coaching.
Kind of like a PST, but with parents.
Correct.
Yeah.
I do think that's something to look into as we try to increase, and retain our support staff for sure. The next one, this is something that was, I think you guys will probably remember added in the last couple of years, is that, we pay the, CCC, the Cs for speech and language pathologists. So basically, I just took what was in a memo from Mike probably a year or so ago, and I added it to the handbook. So that's direct from, it was board approved in actually June 2025, just approved.
Yeah, I know, we took that up.
Yep, and then, the first bullet, if the therapist holds a doctorate, these dues will not be covered by the district. That's language that is in a different place in our handbook, so there was conflicting language. So I updated it just to have similar language in both places. Any questions on that? Okay.
Good.
This SFA, early childhood coordinator, math reading specialist, that entire section has been removed as those
Yeah.
positions no longer exist. Yep.
Yeah, it's,
Yep, teacher transfer for involuntary transfer, we're getting to the end. I just added, nothing was in our, handbook about involuntary transfers, so professionals who are involuntary transferred will receive a stipend of $2,500 per semester. That they're involuntarily transferred per the payroll schedule, so,
why did you do that?
We used to just move them, there's what it is, buddy.
No, we used to say, so that's why they call it.
You're going to Wilson, you're going to Washington.
But that was when there was a surplus of teachers, I think.
yeah.
Yeah.
And this, again, is just a practice that's been in place, that's not in our handbook.
Right, right.
So again, just trying to provide clarity and consistency,
It's pretty generous. Yeah.
I would agree.
I think that's smart to
Do you need
do
a
by
motion to- for
semester
these?
in case you have-
And that's what we're trying to do, is that we're trying to hire people at the semester, so
Handbook.
right now, you know what I mean, like, if I
Yeah,
can
we have
find
to vote
somebody,
on
then
it.
great.
We have to vote on it.
Last one, hang on, new amounts from the contract, so we had some penalties for if you broke your
Oh,
contract
yeah,
after certain
I'm all
days.
in favor of
And you
that.
can see that I have drastically increased those, because I will tell you, it's comparable with districts in our area, they have $3,000 in August.
Oh my God, I mean, some of the people just hang it up without,
Yeah,
without,
2 weeks.
without a 2 week notice.
Right, when you have 2 weeks before
mean,
school starts and you're
that's
trying to
pretty-
find somebody. So those are just updated amounts to be more comparable with what other areas are doing. And hopefully, again, it just makes people think a little bit, like,
Oh, yeah.
I have mixed feelings about this because I think,
Do you?
sometimes it ends up one district paying another,
correct,
right?
Pretty much.
yes,
And that's not the intent, that it would hurt a district, but
Mm-hmm.
unfortunately it does.
it does.
Oh, but it sends a message, I think.
It does, it maybe deters, I'd love to see the data on that, but, the other,
It would deter if all the districts would say, hey, we're not gonna cover it anymore.
Right, we'd all have to agree.
Yes.
instead we're all putting out money to each other that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
So,
August 15th,
just
I mean, if
going
you
on record
resign
for
on
saying
August
that.
15th.
I understand your intent. I think, some of the new items that I thought we would maybe see on your list are some of the, recent board policies related to some of the social media and some of the other ones that I said, how are these getting communicated to staff? I don't know if are giving any more consideration to putting any of that in the handbook. I know you talked about a way to communicate. But
Yeah.
maybe taking a look at that.
So the end of our handbook has, here are the here are board policies, so there's a list of them in there. So my thought was to link all those new policies in there, make sure that those are
Yeah.
updated in there.
I think there's some kind of significant changes to,
That we should specifically spell out.
at least take a look at them with Lee and
Yeah,
some
Ruby's
of
got
those
it.
I think.
okay,
I told her to
Oh.
develop more of a interactive handout that's
Okay.
got some of our more recently updated policies
Okay.
that impact
Probably
staff.
right before you were hired that.
Yeah.
We
So
might.
we have that
Okay.
started, I think, we can,
yep.
After the first day of school. I mean, who would do that?
It happens,
Oh, yes, it does.
It's the job market now.
it is. Yep. Should we go through the support staff one? It's pretty short.
Sure, we have to take a motion on this, because it's an action item on the agenda.
Do you wanna do
Is
them
there a
separately or?
motion? Yeah, let's do
I
this.
need a support staff. Where's the support
Is there,
Oh, I only printed off the new, it's gonna be in the handbook.
Oh, okay,
They're in your,
all right. It's in-
oh, okay.
No, that's
Are both of them?
Oh.
Both of them are handbook updates is what it says, so I guess we could consider both of them at the same time. This is for the,
Apologize that I thought
professional
this was-
handbook.
Let me,
Is it pretty much the
This is for.
yeah, I can print it off and I'll get it from you.
No, that's,
really
I
quick.
can go ahead, that's no big deal.
We can listen carefully.
I was gonna say,
They're pretty much the
most of
same.
them are exactly the same, so I can
yeah, I was
actually.
gonna say they're pretty much
I can
the
go,
same,
so like
okay.
1H1 post-retirement benefit, again, no longer a need for resignation, it's the
Right.
10 years and 125. Absence due to illness is the 120 days towards long-term disability.
Yeah.
Added the grandparent for illness and family. Changed the death and family to be the same as the professional staff. One thing that is different, there's a temporary leave of absence section in our support staff handbook. There's just a statement that's added that says, leaves without pay may be authorized only after all paid leave has been used. So basically saying you gotta use all your paid leave before we'll let you
Which
use
one is
unpaid leave. That one was in the support staff one.
Yeah,
It was
yeah,
section
yeah.
I or 1.7, temporary leave of absence. It's about 3/4 the way down the front page.
Okay,
Yep, and then direct deposit was the same.
oh, yeah, yeah.
Overtime for support staff, there just needed some clarity on there, so there was just a statement, there's a whole section on overtime, but there's a statement add that says if overtime is needed outside the typical workday, for example, snow removal, employees should clock in for the overtime hours separately than their daily hours. So if I come in at 4 o'clock to clear snow, I clock in for overtime from 4 to 6, then I clock back into my regular time so it's just a clocking in and clocking out things. There was a section in our support staff one that has this PDA certification for paraprofessionals. And after about a day and a half of running around trying to figure out what PDA stands for, there was a document that we found on the web from a long time ago that basically talks about, professional development. So
Oh.
it's something that's very outdated, that's not around anymore, so we're just gonna get rid of that, piece as well.
Used to have that.
The section on vacancies for paraprofessionals, we just simplify the language to indicate that positions will be posted on the MPSD website. There was this whole thing of like, it'll be posted here for this many days, and then it will do this, and then it will do this, and then it will do this. We're just saying everything is posted on our website. We always send the internal postings as well, but just clarifying that. Our intent to return letters used to say secretarial and paraprofessional, and now we just changed it to say 10-month employees. So 10-month employees will receive a letter from the district asking about their return status the following year, and they need to return that. So we just changed it to be comprehensive for all 10-month employees. And then resignation, that you should just notify in advance, but not 2 weeks, less than 2 weeks, not less than 2 weeks. Employees should submit a letter indicating the resignation. We used to have this appendix that you had to fill out to say you were gonna resign. It's now just submit a letter. The one thing that we did add, is if there's less than 2 weeks notice given, a staff member will pay a $100 fee. So what's
I wouldn't
happened?
mind seeing that increased either.
Well, and initially I had it a little bit more, and then asking some feedback and, what paraprofessionals, and support staff get paid, I think we'll start here. I just have had a lot of, you'll see on my board report on Tuesday, there's people I hired last board report who have now already quit. So like somebody called me and said, well, I know I came to training on Monday, but I got a job in a different district. And I said, oh, great, so you're gonna give me 2 weeks notice? No, I'm not going
Right.
to. So we have people who, I mean, $100, I don't, but I figure it has to, give us 2 weeks notice, at least to try to get it covered.
Logistically, how are you getting $100 out of them?
We send them an invoice
Okay.
and then hope that they pay.
Okay,
So that's the support staff. Many of them are very similar to the professional staff.
Mr. Chair, you wanna take this two separate motions? or-
no, let's do one.
I make a motion that we accept the changes to the professional handbook and paraprofessional handbook as presented to our committee.
Okay.
Again, I think just looking back at some recent board policies, if those could be looked at. I certainly am in agreement with what you feel here.
Yeah.
If there are any additional, I think just one more look at that.
Yep, I can do that.
Okay,
So we have a motion by Keith.
yeah, you seconded it?
Second.
Okay, all right. I mean, I guess I could second. I could. Is there further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, we'll recommend acceptance.
Thanks for that. And I will say, like, it's one of my goals this year to take a even more close look at the handbooks. Right now, my goal was just to get things updated so they were ready to go for the beginning of the school year. So, my hope is that next spring or, late spring, you'll see the handbooks for the following year ahead of time. So we have more time for
Do
those.
staff sign them every year?
We do not in this district.
It's not that hard to put them into Vector.
I know. I've thought about, and job descriptions are the other things I've thought about
Yeah.
too.
It's on the website. It's on your to-do list.
It is on my to-do list. You know how that is, Mary. Good. Okay. That's done.
Okay, good. So, attracting, recruiting, hiring, and retaining qualified staff, that's the 100-day.
Yep. So that's me again.
Yeah, that's
I'll go
you.
first and then I'll let Lee do his second. So you'll see, the handout that I put together, I put Big Rock 6 at the top. So obviously the language at the top is from our vision, and our work that we're doing. So just in my first 30 days, really, my goal has been to start building relationships with our EPP, our educator prep programs, our local universities. So we have some agreements with some of those already in place. We don't have agreements with all of them. So really just looking at who do we need connections with. I have volunteered to sit on every mock interview that is possible. I've been asked to sit on a panel already at UW La Crosse about hiring practices. So I'm just trying to make those connections with our local universities so we can get those recent grads out of college.
Yeah.
So that's the first piece.
So by connections, you truly mean agreements.
Some of them are written agreements. Some of them, I think like Lakeland University has one, Lakeland College has one. There's a few of them that do written partnerships, but other ones I just am saying like, what do you need help with? I'll come.
Okay.
So
What is Lakeshore College? It's not Lakeshore Tech anymore.
that's Lakeshore Tech.
Lakeshore College, should they be in here? Is this a connection with them?
I did get that question from Ann this afternoon, and I did not include them in here initially because we already have an agreement partnership with them. So that's not one I have to
Okay.
facilitate right now, and it's Meredith Sauer, who obviously has
sure,
connections
yeah,
to the district, so her and I have already been in some conversations about that. Some of these people know Mike, so now it's really me just saying, hey, I'm the point of contact now, come to me.
Oh, sure.
So, my goal would be student teaching placements, internship placements. How do we get people in here that we can keep them and retain
Oh,
them?
yeah, that's really good.
Creating effective systems. We know that we need to have really good systems in order to, take barriers out of the way for teachers and our staff. So we're really just looking at how do we do hiring of positions, posting of positions, our FMLA processes, our handbook. So my department is really looking at how can we be more effective and have clear systems that people know and understand and are able to access the things they can.
I have a system a hiring system I could show you?
Yes, please. I would love that.
Yeah, FMLA,
Family Medical Leave Act.
okay.
And
So-
for that, you're actually looking at an online system.
Correct. So we are gonna transition to an online system. We have our orientation later this week, which I think will help us. There's so much dates and compliance with FMLA. And I think they said last year they had twice as many as the year before. So when you talk about paperwork and signatures, and so this should be an easier method to help keep that all organized. days 31 to 60, one of the pieces that I'll be working on is feedback from new staff hired. So I don't want it to be a long survey because people don't read long surveys. I really just want like, what was your experience like? What would you wish you would have known? You know, just so as we are looking at processes for next year, how can we ensure people have really good experiences when they're coming into the district? Again, participation at recruitment events with universities and then implementation of some of those systems we're working on creating right now.
There is a new staff survey that was done in the district historically. You might wanna
I'll
look.
look for that.
Joyce had something. It was very insightful.
Okay.
Looked at it.
Then 61 to 90 is, Lee and I, he's been talking about communication as well. So one of the things our executive team has been talking about is if we do a mid-year staff survey, what are the right questions to ask to gauge staff certification? Because we need those to be clear, and we need to know what our purpose is for those. So just working on, what would those questions be and what information do we want to get?
So that was done last year by,
School perceptions.
are you thinking of continuing to use them or?
We're looking at options, so that's one of our options. There's some other, we are moving to Staff Tracks, which is an Educational Vistas product for educator effectiveness, and they have a survey tool as well. So we just wanna make sure, are we able to get out what we need to get out and get the information we need to get in?
I'm very curious because staff raised some red flags last year when it was first administered under a different superintendent. And there was some nice improvement
Yep.
mid-year, but some continuing concerns on certain topics.
Yep.
And I would love to see those pieces definitely resurveyed to see if some of those concerns are still there.
All right.
agree. Yeah.
Lee is nodding his head, so I think
Yeah.
he knows.
Yeah, and I just think about, I've taken that school perception survey of many districts, and sometimes I think the questions are confusing a little bit when it talks about like my supervisor. Well, who's my supervisor? Is it the superintendent? Is it the principal? So how do we just make sure we're getting the information we need in the clearest way possible?
Yeah, I specifically remember some questions about student behavior
Yeah.
that I thought were a little bit leading,
Okay,
and it only wanted me to have more information. Like additional follow-up questions would have been helpful.
so we'll work with that as our executive team, to put that together. But I'll kind of own that to make sure we're ready to go with that. Connections with staff throughout the districts, one of the things I wanna do this year is just give each building staff an opportunity to connect with myself to share how things are going. So my thought is to, be over there during a lunch period. You don't have to come talk to me, but if you wanna come talk to me, almost like open office hours. But just so people, a face with a name, I want people to know, that I wanna listen to them, I wanna be heard. I was out in buildings this morning, it was nice to see people, and, I've been fortunate that I've been in the district, so I do have connections, and I think that, there is a comfort level, but there's a lot of new people that don't know me, so I just wanna make those connections with people. And then attract and grow our own teachers. So one of the things I wanna work on is the creation of an employee profile to share it with prospective candidates. So what does it really mean to teach in the MPSD? Why would you come to the MPSD? Almost like a promotional thing to say, why would you wanna come here? So thinking about youth apprenticeship coordinator and our youth apprenticeship kids, how do we create that? So I'll work with Ruby in our communications department. I'm hoping I can get her information. She'll make it look really pretty.
I mean, are there any good examples of this sort of thought working?
I'm sure there are, because as I was looking for ideas and things, that was an idea that came up.
Yeah.
So,
I think even selling some of the benefits in that
Yep.
profile would be important.
yeah, I was happy that at our back to school in-service, there was a mention that, we still do lane credits and lanes. A lot of districts don't do credits and lanes anymore. So I think it's people understanding that, we do have a lot to offer here, and them knowing what that is. So working on that piece as well. And then just monitoring and communication, obviously, the who's who I think is huge, to know who is who at central office and who do you contact and who's gonna be there to help. And then just again, updates that I'll be giving to you to the board. So that's my next 90 days for you guys. Any questions on that?
Excellent.
Okay,
Well, that's great.
Lee, I'm gonna turn it to you then.
How'd you get the time to do this? You had all that
Carrie,
time.
I've been a little busy, but it's been a good busy, I'll tell ya.
I like it, I like that. And not that you,
No,
I'm not saying you're over busy, I mean, I like that, but that you got all this put together.
yeah,
I think she's
How the
over
first day of
busy.
school was,
I think she's over busy.
yeah.
it's exciting to work. People say, how is it? I'm like, it's busy, but it's been really good work, so I'm happy to be
I
here.
don't mean that in a bad way, I'm just acknowledging.
The last 3 weeks have been crazy.
You're wearing a lot of hats
Yep.
too, right? All right, Lee, you're up.
All right, so, as you can see, we're continuing to move forward with our 100-day planning. It's kind of interesting, this one is kind of, ironically, it's about 100-day planning and getting everybody on board with the system that we're using to help us make progress towards our strategic vision. So as you look at this one, this is really looking at how do we cultivate strong leadership in the district, both at the district level, but also at the school level, to make sure that we're driving our culture of excellence and resulting in higher levels of learning for our kids. So what you'll see in this is that we want to lay the foundation by really, we're modeling first what the 100-day plans look like. So obviously, you get these summary pieces, but we've got these sheets that go into a little bit more depth and detail on how we're documenting what we're doing. But essentially, we want to make sure that the framework for the 100-day plans have been shared and that our principals understand what those are, because essentially they're creating their 100-day plans also that are basically aligned to their school goals, which are aligned to our district goals, and focused on student achievement. I believe every building has an academic goal and a behavioral goal, and they've been asked to also essentially create a communication plan around those goals and how they're going to be monitoring their progress, as well as how they're going to communicate that progress. We are also looking at how to develop some tools within the district. I've said it once, I'll say it until I'm blue in the face. I don't really believe in our current state report card system. We want to develop our own. It's inconsistent. The dial moves all the time. We believe very strongly that there is data that's universally used, not only on our state report card, but also by other districts. It's been work that's been done in the state and around the state for quite some time, called Redefining Ready. And what it basically does is it takes your different levels, your elementary level. What should we be measuring what would a successful district be measuring in terms of data sets at the elementary level to know if we're hitting the mark? What does this look like at the middle level? What does this look like at the high school level? So there's all sorts of data sets that you would not see on a state report card. For example, what percent of our kids, before they take the ACT, have Algebra 2? Well, want to know why our math scores on the ACT aren't as good? Well, we don't have enough percentage of kids taking the type of coursework that needs to be understood and proficiency in to do well on that particular part of the ACT. So how do we start measuring these things? And then having these results, be shared out very publicly. We have EduClimber now. There's a lot of nice tools that it has in terms of how you present the data and how it collects in our student information system. So that's coming with this is essentially, our goal is by the time the real report cards roll out, we want to also be showing you here's what we're going to be using also from year to year. And we'll measure it with raw data. We don't need, it'll show the differences, so that's all associated and connected to these 100-day plans. Moving into the next 60 days, we want to, you will also, by the way, hear from building principals as we move into the fall. We'll have, through the curriculum committee or the full board, brief presentations from our schools around their goals and the essence of their 100-day plan work. So that you also are knowing and understanding how their work in the schools are connecting to, the 100-day plans that we show you from our level at the district. We'll have check-ins, you know, Katie and Heidi, essentially supervise our administrative team. You know, they're working with them not only with weekly or bi-weekly meetings, but they also have designated secondary principal meetings that Katie runs with the secondary principal team. And then Heidi runs elementary, leadership team meetings. And what they're really doing in those is they're, you know, as you can imagine, when you get administrators together, you know, there's all sorts of things to talk about. A lot of it is like business and nuts and bolts, but what they've done, which is great, is they've committed a certain amount of time on those agendas to learning and focusing in on these plans and how we're doing in accomplishing them. And then, of course, we're gonna be looking at ways to get into schools to see and showcase. We've talked about how we can pair administrators together from the secondary and elementary so that they can get a chance to get in and see what's happening in the other schools. We think that there's a vast amount that an elementary person could learn at a secondary school and vice versa. And I wish I would have had that opportunity as a principal to get into an elementary school and see some of the things they're doing instructionally, because, you know, they just, it's just different. And so we're excited about that, trying to increase the level of collaboration that we are using in our principal groups to achieve these goals. And then again, you'll see it in that 61 to 100 days. It's that leadership dashboard. It's those, our own, if we want to call it a school report card, or if we want to call it a success, you know, measurements of success, or however we want to do that. But we'll get that ironed out here in the next couple of months as well.
What's the learning walk?
That would be like having the leadership go in these schools and be looking for specific look-fors that we're trying to see in our work with our goals.
Okay.
We've done them in the past with, you know, educator effectiveness and, you know, doing some, you know, as Katie reported to the curriculum and instruction committee earlier, we've got principals who we've trained now to do some coaching with our professional learning communities and our collaborative teams. And so, you know, that would be the focus, for example, for a learning walk, is to maybe have, you know, a secondary principal go in and walk through a building with an elementary principal, maybe observe their teams. You know, what does a grade level team look like at third grade compared to my US history team that I have meeting at the high school, right? And what can we learn from each other about that process? Cause it's a little different, right? And
Yes,
they're able
I'm
to
sure it
focus,
is, yeah.
you know, a little differently on some of that stuff, so we're very excited. And
Okay, cool.
you know, again, this one is really all about how we're taking this continuous improvement model as a district team and implementing it in throughout the rest of the district. That's the essence of this plan.
I appreciated some sort of a recognition built into this.
Yes,
And then
we want to celebrate.
I think there's an opportunity to celebrate with staff, but also to help our stakeholders know what you're up to and some of the successes that you're having.
Yep.
So I appreciate that you built that in. Like in my mind, I'm even thinking, I think kids could really grab onto a
Yeah.
100-day plan, right?
Absolutely.
So I'm at this level in reading, and
What do I gotta do?
here's my action steps to get there.
Love that.
Just modeling that as a staff, that the kids understand, hey, they're continuing to learn and grow as well. It's pretty cool. Nicely done.
Cool, good. Any more? Any other questions? This will all get, all this,
Reported
this
back.
same report will go to the board, right?
Yeah, yep,
Yep.
absolutely.
Yep.
And then in a reminder, so, I think I'll be back in the committee in November to discuss the communication and engagement, 100-day report.
Yeah.
We'll be coming back to you in December, at this meeting to discuss these two and the report out on how we did and then what's up for the next 100 days.
It'll be 100 days by then?
Yeah, it goes by fast.
Holy wow.
Well, it makes sense though, because typically in education, we
Yeah,
let
Yeah.
things sit a whole school year.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Oh,
right.
we didn't
that's
meet
right.
it. Oh,
Yeah.
now what do we
yeah,
do?
now what
right?
do we do?
So this is a quick dipstick to say how
Yeah, no,
Correct.
we're
that's
doing,
good, yeah.
and let's fix it.
Yeah. A lot of times we use these data sets that we like to call autopsy reports.
Right.
You know, here you go. Well, that was last year, right? We're hoping that we can start to develop some measuring sticks, for actual improvement within the school year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. The last thing on the agenda is the September policies. There's 3 policies here, all new. With only minor, like, kind of tinkering, just on any of them.
I was really curious in 4121 why we took off the volunteers, but then
Right, my exact same question.
I do see, I went and looked up board policy, we do have a volunteer board
Correct.
policy that says we background check.
Correct.
So
That was the rationale.
we're not taking background checks off of volunteers.
Correct.
We simply are
Have a
putting it in the
different
right board policy.
Yep.
I panicked a little, like, what are
Yeah.
you doing?
And I wrote that, I said, why is that special? Okay, that answers my question.
And then, in the next board policy related to open enrollment, some new language, that's quite interesting to me there, number 4, that even though we say there's no special education space available, that we still must review each student's IEP and then, determine whether there is space and whether, we have those services available. So that's a pretty significant change in the way we perhaps
Isn't
are
it a change?
denying some of that,
Yeah.
open enrollment.
Yeah, it's new language. The green indicates new language in the policy.
Yeah, yeah.
It blows
Yeah,
my
okay,
mind
yeah.
that we continue to do that. DPI allows it.
Doesn't make sense.
It will be interesting to see if case law comes around to,
Yeah.
but, I think even an example, like, without saying a name, but a family that was really looking to open enroll. There were a lot of good questions raised about
Right.
simply because of my protected class, ironically, I can't continue to go to school here, so this will be an interesting movement. And, the last board policy on tax exempt bond compliance,
I
I
can't
will,
even read that.
I will admit it was a little over my head.
Yeah.
But I think we need this in place.
Correct.
For Nate to do the
Yep.
job, so. Yeah, what we've
Yeah.
checkmarked here makes sense. And I think
I mean,
probably are just-
that's basically all of it.
this was a
Just
lagging,
Compliance type.
Give it to the
Had to get in
business
there.
manager, yeah.
Yep.
And what, one more thing.
so.
Yeah, this
What
was
is a
one of those,
bond
this
pay-
was one of those we reviewed,
Agent trustee.
last year and said, well, we don't need this, we don't have any bonds. And, well, now we do. So we better
So
bring it
how
up.
do we get, is this all through Baird or what? Like the bond council? The bond paying agent trustee, the
Yeah.
rebate analyst?
Yeah, it depends on, you know, what part of it we're looking at, but the district's council, who assists us on bonds, we get help from Baird.
Okay, yeah,
Yep, and
that's what I
so,
thought.
yep, so when we met with them to do the initial meetings, for example, with the one, when they got us our Moody's rating, we had to have a meeting with someone from there, and the guy from Baird was on there, and, you know, they're just there to help make sure
Okay.
that we're communicating things, because they have a responsibility also with compliance, to us, to help us meet our compliance,
Okay, yeah, yeah.
with those things.
Yeah, okay,
So they support us in it.
all right.
I would make a motion that we move forward 4121, 5113, and 6146, for approval by the board.
I'll second.
All right, discussion? Okay,
I was just gonna mention, just in general with policies, beginning next month, we'll be looking at the 53 or so policies that were actually updated language over the summer. So we will now enter the maintenance phase, and I just wanted to thank Ruby, for all her work on these
53
policies.
policies?
We have done a decade's worth of work in about a year and a half,
Yeah.
and it's been a lot,
I know.
but we're back up to date, other than these most recent updates. So we also are going to
Are you saying that we're gonna get 53 policies next?
No, we'll do it over the next 3 months. We'll split them up, but we're gonna do it,
Yeah, we could.
we're gonna do it a little bit more streamlined. We're gonna go with, we're gonna send you the thousands and the 2000s together, so they're kind of by
These are all
genre.
just
instead
maintenance
of-
updates,
Yeah.
there's just changes, that's the doors of the, I mean, this is
Well,
not.
there are some different options in some of them too. So there will be some that we might call technical corrections. But one of the things that we did do that I thought was helpful when we were kind of making our big ground in all these is we use this term of mirroring policy. So.
Yeah, we did use that.
Yeah, and really what it did is help a board member know or understand that in our viewpoint, based on these updates, it really isn't changing the essence of this policy. So we're gonna take a look, and what we plan to do when we do these next round of updates is to let the board members know if they're, you know, these are a list that we would consider mirroring
Yes.
versus very drastic changes. So just that as you look through it in terms of the lens you're seeing, you know, when you're evaluating these policies and the changes, you'll know like, okay, this one is very similar to what we already have.
Okay.
And then these may be a little bit more in-depth changes.
I think that's exactly what Stacy did on the
Yep,
handbook.
exactly.
It helped us understand these,
Yeah,
went through them too.
yep.
It is law school stuff. I mean,
Yeah,
they're kind of the pros it is. It's
Yes,
just like, oh my
yes.
God, am I understanding this?
Well, you
now?
have 2 jobs, make board policies,
Yeah,
hire an evaluator superintendent.
yeah, right.
So don't ever complain, it's too much.
Yeah.
Did we vote on that, Carrie?
Yes, the motion was made and the discussion is over, I guess. So all those in favor?
Aye.
Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye, all right.
Did you keep up with that, Stacy?
Thank you,
I
thank you.
did.
We went through it.
I had
Oh,
a
yours-
nice
you're good.
framework that Lori put together for me. I said, just give me the blanks to fill in.
So Tuesday at 5:45, right?
Yeah,
Correct.
Oh, yeah, yep, a week from
well, that's good.
today,
Yeah.
yeah.
Seems like we did, doesn't it?
Awesome, thanks everyone.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
we kind of helped you out.
Yeah.